It's actually funny how this research came about. I've been holding this back for a few weeks since I made the video on the artifact there in Afghanistan that got blown up, and you will see why I ended up on this image here. And this is the Revelation prophecy about the man of sin, the beast, the end times prophecy, and the crown of many horns, 10 kings, and that kind of led me on the direction of looking into the Statue of Liberty there. And I think this is you would think so, a smaller depiction of a statue somewhere. Right, it doesn't really matter because it's made exactly the same. I just found it interesting how this thing is actually chained down, as if this is something to do with the fallen one being chained up there for a short time and then released. I just found that interesting. That's why I put that in there for you. This is the Statue of Liberty. I couldn't really get much out of it, with the 10 horns and all this, but anyway, forget that. We're going to have a look at how this thing is built, and this isn't carved out of rock, is it? This was built, just like this site I'm going to show you was built, for all those people, right, that thumbed down me and thought that I was talking out of my ass. You can see how this thing has been put down in rebar sections and held together with girders. This is the site there in Afghanistan, and I got this image from Facebook actually. It was from Vlad9VT. I've already told you that I need to do a video on certain people I used to follow and the reason why I left them, but that particular person is a proper shill. But anyway, I got this image from his site because everything that I've been doing, him and the others have been reacting to. So any video I make and any images that I put out, within a day or two, they are finding similar images and putting them on their site, right? And still carrying on with their bullshit. But this image here, I'm glad that he did put this on. And you can see how this has fallen away and it's flattened out over time with rain and what have you. But you can see a layering over this, okay? For those people that think that this was carved. It wasn't carved, was it? Because this has got a layering over it. It's actually got two. So it's been done twice. It might have been repaired, actually, but it's been built with a rebar. Well, I showed you what it was built with. If you've not watched the video, watch it again. This entire edifice was actually a structure. I don't know if this was built around the same time. We're not getting into that now anyway. But that's an image that I didn't show you during that video. I did show you this, and I said that the hands that stuck out a good 80 feet would have to be, and I mean have to be, built something like this to hold the weight, the amount of weight that those hands and arms must have weighed, right? And I also think that it was holding some type of platform. It was holding something. I think that's why the area got lower down, got damaged. I will show you that in a bit. But the large holes inside the wrist must have held something like these beams here. These here. This statue is enormous. So these holes here, right, are to hold the weight of the hands. These arms are already sticking out 50 feet. So if you put the hands on there, right, do you know how much weight that would be? And I think it was holding a huge platform or something, and that's how this area got damaged and around the feet, right? I said that it looked like they'd been shooting here. I've since changed my mind on that. Yes, I can be wrong on some things. Well, my main research is always right what I'm talking about, but I'm allowed to have guesses and be wrong. But I did show you the chin area, and these are actually in like a diamond shape. It's diamond shape, triangle shape rebar. I showed you these down here, right? Because these were once floors that went all the way across here, so this structure must have been built later. But you can see how immaculate this covering is, yeah, because I said that this structure is actually more advanced than the Statue of Liberty. And I've also told you that everything that we have today is all knowledge from the past. Those sections were held into position with something no different to that. This is important to what I'm going to show you. I've shown you this once before. It's a site in America, and this is actually framework. It's not like a rebar, it's actually a framework. Yes, it's ancient, it's embedded in rock now, right? It will have been surrounded by concrete, lime, but it's calcified and turned into just pure limestone, and this stuff is still in it, right? But you can see how this stuff folds up. It's bolted and it's snapped into position. Like this can fold up, right? You know, fold away and fold out, this, right? You can see pleats in it. But as they've left it out in the open air, right, it's oxidized away and become flat. But you can see that this metal, this rebar, this frame, it runs through this entire rock, which has since turned to rock, which is what happens to a lot of this technology. This is something modern. It's obviously a bunker. It's been shot at, right, probably with 50 caliber rounds, but you can see the rebar inside this concrete, okay? Age of Disclosure has just had this on a video. I did show this in an earlier video about a year ago, on a rebar video. I wasn't quite sure what I was looking at here, if this was ancient, if this was modern, but it isn't. When you come and check these images on my Google page, I want you to check this area here, and you will see that this stuff here actually runs into this structure. You can see the shapes of it. It's actually inside it, but I knew it was built anyway, and not carved, because I've told you none of these structures are carved from rock. They weren't idiots, and we're not idiots. That's why we build something. But you can see these door plinths actually run past the top of the door, yeah? So this weight of this doesn't damage it and collapse it. You can't just carve something like that. That's why we have to build something in the first place, so it won't collapse on your head. Get it? But you can see this in all this structure. It's just calcified away. I don't know why that's ended up holding out longer than the rest of it, right? I don't know. But what I've just shown you is no different to this, because again, we've learned everything from the past, yeah? You know, when they tell you that it's back-engineered technology, right, from alien craft and stuff, no, it's not. That's disinformation. There's back-engineering, but it's all from ancient technology and sites, yeah? Sites that have been covered up, and they back-engineer the technology, whether through ancient scripts, archaeological sites. That's what back engineering is. But you can see how this is built. This is something extremely modern. This is actually the building of the Statue of Liberty, and it's no different to what I've just been showing you people. I know that you want to come and check these particular images. It's the reason why I'm showing you this video, because this is how, or not much different to how this site in Afghanistan was built. I know that image is small. If you go to my Google page, you'll be able to zoom in it. Right? You can see how immaculate this site is, and that this covering is over this because it's metal. It was metal and wood and rebar, and it's got a layering over it. Yeah, but it's the colour that I want you to look at. This is the light there, yeah, the flame. This will be in my rebar video that will be coming up soon. A final compilation of all my rebar sites, past and present, that you've not seen. But you can see how this is put together. This is metal, this piece here, you can see it's bolted into position, all sorts. There's glass under here. Alright. All these sites here, I've just got a few to show you, because all this was rebar, right? All of it was. You can even see, you see that piece that's missing there? A huge piece of metal went in there, right? To hold this roof into position. You can see that runs all the way around there, and that was to stop this collapsing through the floor, right? This site in Israel is no different. This was a huge dome. I will get into this site later. I'm just showing you this because you can see how these are filled in over time. Yeah, because all this was rebar at one time, right? It's just that the lime has got into it as the metal has rusted away, like I've got into, told you before, and you're just left with a shell, an imprint of what it was. It was all rebar and concrete. This site here, right, is no different. It's structural. All these sites are, right? You can see it's no different to the sites I've just shown you, and the building of the statues there, yeah. But for some reason these areas have hardened before these blocks were able to fall out, for some reason, yeah. Which is why I told you that this is actually an ancient structure. Anything they say is a quarry, an ancient quarry, where they're seemingly just removing blocks perfectly and impossibly from a site like this, where every surface is smooth. How would they be able to cut away the back piece? It's because it's fallen out in blocks, because it's structural around here. And this is just fallen out, okay? It's concrete, you can see it, look at it, that's the lime, that's the sand. Again, any site that they tell you it was a quarry, right? Explain why that runs across there and joins up with that and joins up with that, right? That runs across there. It did, but this fell out like a piece like that, right? This was once rebar, and it's all turned to stone. Wherever you see these sites, you will see that every single piece lines up with every piece next to it, right? Because it's structural. All of them are. That's something extremely modern, and you can see how much rebar goes into this stuff. It's everywhere, and this job's only half done because people don't know how stuff is built, right? And concrete's going to get poured into all this stuff, and you won't be able to see it. And girders, okay? This site here is rebar. Absolutely, these are girders. The reason why I put it in for you is because I want you to look down here. When you come and check these images, I want you to zoom in on this area down here, because you will still see the almost perfect rebar that's fallen out of this structure as they've been excavating it, right? This is known as a quarry. And look at the perfect squared blocks. They will tell you that this is from quarrying, right? But I'm telling you, you could remove a huge piece from there and it will have these squares all over it. It's rebar, concrete. Some people say, well, you know, why is it turned to stone? Well, obviously, like us today, we have figured out that you can actually make rebar last longer and not even make it in metal. So they make it in stone. This is granite. yeah, other forms of granite, right, and it will last longer. So it's not exactly turning into stone, is it? And I can bet every bit of money that I've got that this is also back engineered technology, and we learned this method from archaeological sites.